How's it? I'm Greg Mack, and this is the Rugby Mac, and I'm joined today with a good friend of mine, Darren Cromer. How's it, Darren?
How's it? Yeah, great to be on the show. Bit of a bleak weekend, but I suppose we look forward to the next one.
Yeah, not good at all for South African sport as a whole, but I always say that a week is a long time in sport, and you can be depressed one week, and next week everything changes, and you're really happy again. So, not a great result, but we hope the Boks can bounce back this week. So
yeah, I think it's just yeah.
Carry on. Sorry,
No, I'll say yeah. I think it was just a case of a bit of arrogance, not actually much respect for the Aussies. They had actually come off a pretty decent ending to the Lions tour, so they were actually well prepared. But it just seemed like we arrived there, the W was done. They're going to suffer from altitude and a bit of a shocking 45 minutes, I'd say.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I'm pretty much looking back. There've been signs of a bit of arrogance, and it might be just the result that we needed. Not in the sense that obviously you don't want to lose, but it might just be that jolt that they need. And I know that Russie's focusing on that test against New Zealand, Eden Park. That's the one he really wants to win. But obviously we didn't want to lose this test, and not getting a bonus point either was a bit of a disaster, particularly after you 22-0 up or whatever it is after 18 minutes. So, they'll definitely.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what you said was the nail on the head there. That when you'd spoken to a lot of the people, everyone was talking about that Eden Park test. Getting us ready. Can we win two? Is going to be 1-on-1? And no one even spoke that we had to find 9 points at least from the Australians to put ourselves in a good position, knowing that we have to go to New Zealand for 2 tests. So yeah, it wasn't even spoken about, but a rude awakening. I mean, I was happy to see Rassie taking a lot of the blame. Some people coming out and calling about, even there was a talk that Tony Brown was even shouting to Rassie, they're overdoing this, even his charismatic self. And to be honest, a lot of it was the defense as well. The defense was very shoddy. We were just, I think it was 65, 60%, 7%. I don't know if you saw the stat of tackles made, something crazy.
Yeah, I know. I think from about, for the first 20 minutes, it was brilliant. Everything was going perfectly to plan, looked great. And then you suddenly sensed when I think we gave away about 7 penalties in a row. And you just can't do that at international level. You just get punished against decent sides. So the tide started turning there. Australia got that try just before halftime. Still, you thought, okay, 22-5, you're in control. But really, after that early try in the second half, started ringing some alarm bells because, Wilson ran through untouched, basically, and the defense just looked a bit shoddy from there. And then, obviously, the interception, that's 7 points, and then suddenly their tails are up. Boks are trying to, change things. Well, they didn't try to change things when they should have. And that started ringing some alarm bells. And then, obviously, once you give a team a sniff and everything's going against you, then it's very difficult to get momentum back. So...
and also the fact that we don't have that bomb squad, that whole that was it was more debutants. It was very much again from the the norm of what we always got to save us if we just need a bit of stabilization. I think we even touched on a few points. There's some guys that are looking like that we're not quite sure if they're going to be making 2027, looking a bit older, slower. Bongi in particular, not really sure how much longer. I see he's made a change already this week in on the bench for her. So, I think it was just interesting. Some guys, some debutants, more debutants, but newbies, sorry, in the singular in the front row. So, that's obviously, they didn't come with that experience that when the tide's against you, you need to kind of go back to basics, go back to what South African rugby is about.
I was going to touch on that because there's a few players, the older ones that I should say, that are starting to worry some of the fans. Guys like Bongi, as you said earlier, Vincent Koch, they're not playing up to their usual standards, and I'm wondering if it's going to be time that they're going to be phased out. I'm not convinced that Bongi's finished yet, but he's under a lot of pressure from Marnus van der Merwe, who's been playing excellent rugby. And as you say, this week he's been left out of the 23 with Marnus on the bench. I think Marks' lineup didn't function in the first half, even with Marks there. So I think that's the reason he's gone with Franco Mostert at 7, just to give you that extra lineup option for this test. So you've got Ergier and who's the other one? Because Eben and Lurt on the bench.
Eben's on the bench. Yeah,
that's
Snyman.
He's gone with Ruan Nokia. So it's got got the 3 lineup options there. So that's something that they'll be looking at. The lineup didn't function very well, and then something you mentioned, they've gone straight back to the bomb squad. So the 6-2 and that bench with Marnus, Eben, Wilco Low, Lurt, Quagga. That looks a
lot more power, John Luke at 8. We've gone for bigger. We're much more bigger. We're going to definitely take them up back in the forwards, get back, we're in the Cape. We're going to grind them. We're going to play solid rugby, and just kind of push them back. I think we'll go back to basics. I think you'll actually see, I'm expecting a very good performance, actually. I like how it seems like Rusty's also, these halfback combinations. He's gone the youth and the experience on the bench and off. So he's gone Grant with Pollard. And then when they want to bring Sasha, you have Kobus Reinach with the experience. So he's always kind of just, to make sure that balances that level head to kind of sort of, calm things down. So I like that he's gone with that. I think that's good. Yeah, I'm really happy with how he's doing that. The interesting thing, will be is, I wonder, do you think, is he trying this out for the New Zealand test, or do you think he, maybe he's got his eye on Sasha as well, starting that? Be interesting. He already worked it out or got a very good feel for that. But it'd be interesting to see how these combinations work.
Yeah, interesting. It will be. I see we've got a couple of comments here from Raymond. Still going to be tough in Cape Town. Losing would be catastrophic, 100%. We just can't even countenance the loss. We can't even think about it. I mean, already you've got all the other nations gloating that the Boks have lost a test, and so no, I mean, we're not even going to think about that. And to be fair, I think I expect a big bounce back. I think there's going to be, as you say, they'll probably return to traditional Bok rugby, particularly first half, try and get that lead. And as you say, they've gone with a bit of, I think there were 2 ways really that Rassie could have gone after this. Was you go for the same side again and give them another chance to redeem themselves, or you bring your more experienced players and that back. I think his hand's been forced a little bit by the injuries. Obviously, there's 4 injuries.
Yes.
But he was always going to bring Cheslin Colby back. He was always going to bring Damien Delendi back. I think Libok, I mean, he played himself completely out. They're not going to. He couldn't have him. So it was either going to be Pollard or Sasha. Yeah, he's gone for Pollard to start, Sasha to come on and that. And I think that's the right call.
Yeah.
The area that slightly worries me still, the Boks, is the number 6 position. Really, I mean, Michael van Staden does a job, but I'm not convinced yet that he's world class or anything like that. So that's the one. We've got loads and loads of loose forwards, but we seem to have lots of 7s and 8s, and that just that 6th position is.
What's your opinion on this Evan Roos story? I mean, it's quite interesting. There's been about 5 injuries. Evan can't break himself. They've gone with John Luke. It's really interesting. It's obviously he just doesn't really fit the mold that Rassie wants. Obviously, he only gets Jasper back for the 2nd test in New Zealand. So he's going to have to. Hanekom's out for a long time. Elgelo's out for a long time. Decimated there, but it is very interesting what he's kind of. He likes the very, very big sort of, bulky guy. Get over. Like Evan sometimes does is a bit loose. He's caught out wide, and that. I mean, I think he's great. He's dynamic, but it just seems to be when Russell was played slightly tighter. But yes, I agree with you. There's a little bit of that. Obviously, losing Pierre Steff is a big loss this weekend. But I do tend to agree. I think we'll bounce back. Even on that, I already saw the bookies came out with between 10.5 and 11.5. on Sunday with the spread, and already we're sitting here talking on Tuesday. It's already 13.5. Yeah. So it's already moved out. I think the general sentiment is, we're not many times you and I are going to be chatting here when the Boks are 22-5 up at Ellis Park and ever you're losing a game. But as you said, there was a combination of a few things, but I think we will return back to normal.
Yeah, I expect that. I mean, the first week of the Rugby Championship, there were a lot of injuries for all teams. I see Aussie suffered a few as well, so they've lost. Well, they'll definitely have 2 changes at least from their side. So Dylan Peach and James Slipper definitely out, and then obviously Donaldson's also gone, but he wasn't even in the mix really. So they'll definitely make 2. I guess Angus Bell will probably come straight into the starting lineup. And then
is Valentini fit? What's the story?
Valentini, but he did tour. He's on tour, so he would make a big difference if he is in there. Although he said that Tom Hooper had a very good, decent test. But I mean, if Valentini's fit, he comes straight in. I mean, again, Will Skelton looked like he had injured himself in the first few minutes of the test, but he seemed to carry on going. So presume he's going to be fit for that. So, but again, I mean, if you look at that first 15, 20 minutes, it looked like I thought it was going to be 60 points at that stage. Yeah, I'm thinking everyone did it. I see people were tweeting, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, what are showing how weak the Lions were and stuff like that, and things just flip around. It's crazy sport, and particularly rugby. So I think that's. This test is really.
Also, there's some momentum. There's momentum. Like, I think, you take away, as you said, like that try after half time when they get that momentum back and we're starting to give away penalties and turning over from good situations, then Marnie tries that, don't call it speculative, that atrocious pass and, the intercept and that. It's just one of those things that, even the last pass we were just going for it, but, it was basically basketball. And then, they just solidly stood up on their line and Tom Wright goes and scores that. So, I think it'll be interesting. It's also going to be interesting to even watch what Rassie thinks with this Libok. He's given him a lot of charge. He's off to Japan now. He's going to be out of the flow. It's very interesting. I mean, obviously, I don't know if he ever comes back. I mean, he'll be the third maybe, but there's a definite danger. If someone else puts their hand up, he might miss that tour to Australia.
I mean, everyone that follows me knows I've never been a fan of Libok at all. I mean, he's a decent 10 at Super Rugby or URC or the lower level. But the issue that I have with him is he has his flashy moments and those are good, but it does mask some of his other weaknesses. And for me, a 10 has to be able to marshal the game, has to be able to change tack. And that's where Andre Pollard is so good. He's able to assess the game and to say, okay, we've got to change things up now. It's not working. And Libok, for me, just doesn't have that rugby smarts in that aspect. I'm not saying he's a terrible player or anything like that. I mean, he's got skills, but for me, as an international 10, he just does not give me that confidence when you're playing a key game or a big test. And I think a lot of international sides would much rather play against Libok than against Pollard or even Sasha. So I think they would say when they see that gives them a little bit of a boost. I'm not saying he's finished by any means, but as you said, he will be the third choice. And we've got, we've got a few youngsters coming through, and that Moyo, that's Clarkson, is going to be a sensational player, but he's 18 years old, so we've got to give him time. But he's something exciting.
I just think, as you said, like you're in a World Cup semi-finals, you're up by 2 points. Like he's not going to marshal and slow it down. It's just going to be, he's just going to play faster. You're just never going to rely on that, No. So I would say like he just never have trust. He doesn't get a feel for when to slow the game, put in the corners. Tactically just take the life out of the opposition. He's always he wants to just blow you away, as you said, and win a Super Rugby game 57-14 or whatever he wants to do. And, but again, as it's proven in World Cups, defenses and kicking for poles wins.
Yeah, exactly. Kicking for poles are very important as well. I know he's improved. Well, he has improved that this season, but again, there haven't been crucial kicks. It's sort of a big difference between taking a kick in a game against Italy or Georgia when you 20 odd points up, and it doesn't really matter if you miss. Then a vital kick, and that's where Pollard's got his ice in his veins. He just, when you need him, you know he's going to deliver. But yeah, so having said that, I mean, I'm not blaming Libak for the loss. He did cost us a number of points, but there were a lot of players. There are not many players that could think that they were safe to get in the test this week. I mean, a lot of the ones that have been retained are quite fortunate, actually. So
very much so.
Yeah, I mean, like Kane Moody had a bit of a shocker when he came on. I love him, but he fell off tackle. He missed a few things. Damian Willems had a shocker when he came on. So there were just a few that, and even Jesse didn't have his best. Jesse Krill didn't have his best game. You know, all of them in the first half were okay and stuff, and then second half they just.
I just think they kind of forgot about the game plan. It was just weird. They kind of they got roped into this, this wild rugby, whatever, Tony Brown stuff. But Tony doesn't even want it to be that extravagant. There was no structure. So it was like they all felt that, the obligation to, flick the ball and, do all these sort of outlandish things. And there was never a point where someone stopped and said, "Guys, back to basics." Where
was our defence out wide? Because every time Australia got a wing, they were through. There were a few fortunate tries, so they picked up one. We were right on the attack, stays and couldn't hold on to it, and Wright went through. But again, the defence was non-existent, or it was far too easy for them to beat the last cover defence.
100%. I mean, Willems should have tackled him anyway on the last one. I know the game was over, but I mean, he literally half-heartedly put his right hand when the guy cut inside, But it was just, as you said, it could be, very much be interesting to see the response this weekend, because it was just a poor performance from the final 55 minutes. We just were very average. So, but hopefully we really sort of bounce back. I see we got a commentator there, not too sure we can win 2 New Zealand. It's going to be very tough, to be honest. One even.
I mean, it's going to be tough, but I'm not writing it off. There's definitely a possibility. No? I mean, certainly they're going to, that one at Eden Park, that's the one they've been focusing on for a while. I mean, New Zealand at home, always tough. You can't take anything. I mean, they came close to beating us in South Africa last year, but you just never know. And with this, I mean, one shocking performance doesn't mean that you have to, that the team's rubbish or anything like that. I expect to see a big change this coming week, this weekend. I mean, you look at the New Zealand, Argentina, they played okay. They did what they needed to do. But I mean, England went to Argentina and beat them fairly comfortably, and both with a weakened side. So we would have expected New Zealand to win that, and that was kind of what the bookies had the line. Maybe they just beat that line slightly. So they look good, particularly in the maul. That's where they've improved a lot.
I was that.
More defense is going to have to be tight, because I can see the All Blacks testing box with that if we give away any penalties. But also the All Black defense hasn't been the greatest either, and they're struggling a bit to fit Rico Ioane in, because
I was about to say that's their big problem at the moment. They've given up on him in the centres, and they're trying to throw him out wide, but he's actually, I always laugh, I'd put him back in centre. I'm very happy to play him every day. He's just going to give you a chance, I mean, I think it's interesting with them. I think Satiti is very big for them. When he's playing, he makes a big difference to them. We have Walter Satiti with Sevilla can play on the side. Then, it'll be interesting. I think, I think that they've definitely improved under Razor. I always knew that Robertson was going to bring that steel, that metal back. So it is interesting. But I agree. The Argentinians in the second half, they came out firing. They were finding gaps. In the end, with 15 minutes to go, it was a 7-point game. They were lucky not to go down to 13 after giving lots of infringements, penalties away, and infringing on their own trial and defending. Argentina scored. If they don't score, it probably would have been a penalty and down to 13. So, I think it's something that, I think we were chirping a lot about it, but, South Africans, but I think we're quietly confident, Rusty, that Honestly, I think he'll be disappointed if we lose both. I feel like he really feels he's got one, one win in us. Yeah, he's got one in. What happened on that, is a different story. But yeah.
That Eden Park one is going to be an absolute, it's going to be, because both teams, obviously New Zealand, they don't want to lose that record at home, and the Boks have targeted that one. I see Carl Dixon as the ref for that one. That's going to be an interesting one. Northern
interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
yes,
he is pretty strict on the yellow cards, as a lot of the Northern Hemisphere refs are. So discipline is going to be very, very important for that test. He's pretty hot on his yellow cards. So again, and that could make a difference. But I see
they also lost. Now. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to say.
Just go. Go for it.
I saw they've lost Tuapolotu to injury.
Ooh, okay.
So that's quite they've also lost Anton Leonard-Brown, but I think they can cover that. I think he might be back, but I think Tuapolotu is going to be out against South Africa. I think he's be at 6 weeks minimum or something like that. So that's a little bit of a loss. He's a decent player for them as well. We'll see.
It's going to be interesting because there are some areas, I don't know how bad this PSTF injury is. Hopefully he's back. I don't know the sort of time frame of that. Even this 8th man thing, it's been a big game for Jean-Luc. Does he put in a good performance? He starts. Pretty much. Khaleesi's out for the tour. Jasper plays the second test only. So it's pretty much really up for grabs for him. I don't think he thought, that he would literally have a chance to be the starting 8 here. It's a big thing. I think so. Actually, it's going to be interesting. I think a few of the guys are really can lock up the starting positions. I think another good performance by Grant Williams. I think he starts, there. It'll be interesting to kind of, see. I actually thought there was a chance that Morne van der Berg was going to get, a chance.
Well, I think this week Rassie basically said that he was going to start Morne van der Berg and Ethan Hooker. But because of obviously the result, he's had to change the team a little bit. What I'd really like to see is I'd like to see the Boks go back to a consistent selection and not chop and change every week. So you get some combinations. But obviously, they want to build squad depth, but you can't make 10 changes every game and stuff like that. And then get the strongest side out there for the next 3 or 4 games, and and then you can play make one or two changes, but you need to get the combinations out there as well and make sure you know what your strongest side is, because they chopped and changed against Georgia and Italy. Obviously, they could do that. And I'm quite happy to see Thomas du Toit actually get a start at tight head, because he's been messed around a bit from my view. He's played really, really well for Bath, deserved a shot. He played about they put him at loose head in the one test, I think it was, and gave him 20 minutes and then hooked him. It was very very tough on him. So it's good to see him get a start. Hopefully he has a good performance, because I think while Wilco Low is very strong in the scrum, he's around the park, he's a bit lazy.
Yeah,
also you don't see him enough, as well as I just feel for such a big guy, he doesn't he runs into the contact at a slow pace rather than actually charging through and getting over that. Something like an Oxen Chair or Thomas, those that really go. So this is a chance for, as you say, for Jean-Luc. He's got a great chance to cement that 8th man place for the All Black tests, and Thomas du Toit is an interesting one at tight head to see how it goes there. So that's intriguing.
Yeah, very, very much so. And be interesting to see if, as well, I assume I haven't seen when the New Zealand team comes out, they go for the same selection. Be interesting to see if they decide that they want one or two people they want to sort of wrap or protect for, the Eden Park. Be interesting to see. I would expect them to go full kilt, but be interesting, Raiders, I'm sure, got his eyes literally set on this as well. So no, they didn't really comfortably, and with the South African loss, it does make it easier for them. They do kind of know that if they put 2 past us, that's pretty much that for the for the rugby championship. So there's a lot of interesting things. I think it's it's going to be a humdinger. A bit upset about, I know we haven't brought this up and we don't know how much time we got left, but I'm excited going to the Cape Town test, going with quite a few friends. It's going to be fierce. bit disappointed in these ticket prices and this whole Soros statement, even about 85%. We got our target, we're happy. I was saying to someone the other day, you want to take a family of 4, you want to take, it's just unaffordable. It's like, even I was listening to Nick Mallet last night, and he was saying that even for middle class, it's unaffordable. It's just crazy. So
it's crazy.
I think it needs to be.
It's just crazy. I mean, I know the Boks have been doing well, but this is South Africa. This is you don't take advantage. It's not like you've got a lot of people that really, really want to see the Boks, and they just priced out completely. I mean, it's ridiculous. I think I was at the Ellis Park test against All Blacks last year, and I think I paid R1,000, which was okay. Now I'm seeing some tickets like 3.5 or 4 grand for a ticket. I mean,
I'm not joking. 3 grand for okay. 2,300 was okay. Like, it's like crazy where it's going. There's like it's just really, it's like, I was looking even today, just, interested. There's lots of tickets available. So I think it's something that I know they were dear, but the Stormers week in, week out. And when we're not, we haven't had the best run last year, we get 30,000 people coming from all over, from the Cape Flats, from everywhere, from out the Pole side. Affordable, spending 100, 250 rand, on a ticket. It's just crazy. Like, I really think it should be, 1,500 for the very good. And then most of the tickets should be between the 400 and 800 mark. That's just the price point that that is relative to that. You can't compare it to overseas. Overseas people in pounds. You can't. I don't think, it's not a discussion.
And the South Africa, you look at it, compare it to average salaries in South Africa and stuff like that. It would actually, bankrupt certain people to try and get it. It annoys me when people start taking advantage and that. And it's really they need to take a look at this, because they're taking advantage of the great support and you want a full house in every stadium. And if you look at this park, there were loads of empty seats. They were scattered around, but there were loads. And it's very. I'm disappointed with that.
It's going to be the same this weekend. It's going to be the same this weekend, And also, you also now creates an issue. You now bring the ticket prices down with a few days to go or whatever to try get it. Now, some guys paid 4,000 rand trying to book a seat early, sitting next to a guy who paid 800 rand or 1,000 rand 2 days before. It's going to create animosity. So anyway, it's we're not in the powers to be, but I hope that the guys make the key decision. They look at it.
I'm sure. I think they've had a lot of outcry on it, and hopefully they see some sense there, because I mean, you want to bring it to the people. You don't want just the elite, the rich to be able to afford it and stuff. You want proper rugby fans, and as you say, in the Cape there, you've got just loads of proper rugby fans that just would not be able to afford that. So very disappointing. And again, hopefully they look at that. Sorry, there's just one more comment. I'm just seeing famous Ellis Park blowouts. The Irish would beat South Africa 10, Boks 1. Hurricanes at Lions 24-0. Lions 1. Yeah, there have been a number of these, Raymond. Definitely. I remember. I think England were leading the Boks by quite a few as well. A few years ago, I think they went 20 points up as well early, and then the Boks struck back. But so there have been a few, and that Ellis Park and
normally though, if us doing it to them, it's the Boks to come back in second half in altitude. But it's one of the first I said, we ran ourselves off our feet. We were exhausted. It was like we were in reverse here. It was crazy.
Again, they also try and make up. I think the opposition now are so used to playing at those places that altitude is not a bigger factor, but they try and make it a little bit. They try and create the press, thinking, "Oh, you're going to beat us because you're at altitude," and put that in our heads and stuff like that. And some, I mean, they played it. Aussies and Kiwis and have played at Ellis Park and Super Rugby for years and stuff. So they're not so. I mean, sure, it might be a little bit of a disadvantage, but I think they play on that a bit as well.
Yes, so, a lot more. Yeah.
I mean, we've got probably about a minute left. I mean, we can just to wrap up. So let's have a quick What are your thoughts on the bookies line? Do you think I've got it right? What do you think?
I think, honestly, we come back, we put in a great performance. I think we absolutely put the thought to. I'm going to go, I reckon, box by 18.
What's the conditions like? How's Cape Town been? Is there any rain
Generally, I mean,
forecast?
it has been, but it's been good today.
Yeah,
They expect it to be clear.
yeah.
And it's a 5 o'clock thing, so it should be cool. I think it's, I think the question will be fine. It'll be good. I think, I think we'll grind them down. I think, we'll put them away.
I'm confident that
What are you going to go with?
Yeah,
Yes?
I'm confident. I'm thinking they're pretty close there, but I'm going. I said last week, I thought the Aussies were going to lead at halftime, and then we'd catch up and blow them away second half. But that didn't happen. We're opposite. This week, I'm thinking box by about 12 to 14 as well. So that's 12 to 15. So I think
you got the bookies. You and the bookies. Yeah, you and the bookies are very aligned.
We're aligned at the moment, but I want to see the Australian team first as well.
Yeah.
Because they've got a few key players there. So if Skelton plays, if Valentini plays, they look like they had picked up a couple of other injuries there as well. Harry Wilson actually was limping, but I think he'll be fit. Tom Wright's playing a great rugby at the moment as well. Same as the outside backs, dangerous. Jorgensen's looking dangerous. So I think again, I expect our defense to improve a heck of a lot, but they are very dangerous on attack. We're just going to make sure that our line-out improves. We don't give away as many penalties, and we keep it a little bit tighter. Then, but yeah, I could be persuaded, but I'm quite happy with the Bok selection. Obviously, we've lost a couple of Peter Stephan Sear, Kurtley Arendse, Edward van der Merwe. But we do have, with Kane and Moody coming in, even though he didn't have a great cameo, and then we've got, we do have players.
Cheslin will be big. Cheslin will be big.
So that makes a huge difference. I mean, Willie Leroux back. We'll see how he goes. Hopefully,
see how he goes.
Played for a while, but we've only got the two backline on the bench, so he's probably going to have to play most of the game. Willie and we've got Kobus and Sasha on the bench. But then again, you're covering most of the backline because Kane and Moody can go into centre if need be. So can Jesse Krill can cover wide if it had to be. Kobus Reinhardt can go. Grant Williams can go on the wing if necessary and stuff. Sasha can play across the backline. So you've got pretty much you've got your cover there.
You got a lot of cover. We cover, we got to cover there. I probably would have preferred Willems, even though he was not great on there back at home. But let's see how Willie sort of goes again. He wants that level head experience, and looking forward to it. We really got to cut also in midfield that that Aussie centre pairing is as good as they've had in quite a while. Lenny Katau is playing really well, really well.
Swahili as well if he gets the ball, but when against the Lions didn't, he didn't get much ball. When he did get the ball, he had that wonderful break and created thing, but they didn't let him get too much. So, again, in the first 20 minutes, Box didn't let them get Australia get anything, but then playing that open expansive, that just played into their hands because that's just what they wanted. So I think we both aligned that the Box are going to revert to a bit more traditional rugby, but more of the 10-man game initially, put a few more kicks up, try and maul a few, scrum them and that, and then if the game calls for, they'll throw it wide again. But I think Pollard at 10 will dictate the play a lot more than Libbok did. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Anyway, I think we are
Thank you.
A few minutes of time. So thanks, Darren, for joining. It's good to chat again.
It's always great to chat to you about rugby. Love it, and hopefully we get a positive result.
That's it. So let's hope the Springboks turn things around this weekend and put a smile on our faces. We don't want to be glum again. I think we all had a bit of a bleak weekend with the thing. So the cricket changed things around today. They performed, and let's hope the Boks do the same. So I'll catch up with you later, perhaps next week, when we can have a a run round or something like that, or and see
Perfect.
how.
Sounds good.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining, Darren. And
Thanks.
cheers,
Appreciate
everyone.
it. Keep on, guys.
Yeah.
We'll chat
Bye,
soon.
everyone.
Thank
Chat.
you, man. Bye.
Bye.